So, hi, same day, same mission. Some days I'll read two passages of the Bible rather than, only one. Some days I will read one just to make sure that I get through all of Genesis by the end of January. Um, that being said, I kind of didn't like where I was sitting before, so I am switching it up and gonna change the angle here. Still reading the same children's Bible, but just trying again. So right now we are in 2nd Genesis, and we are going to go into the story of the Garden of Eden. So God planted a garden in the east, in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. Out of the ground the Lord made trees of every kind to grow, both those that are pleasant to the eye and those that are good for food. In the middle of the garden he planted the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. A river flowed out of Eden to water the garden, and beneath the garden the river divided and became 4 rivers. The first was called Pison. Also, for reference, I do not know how to pronounce things in any biblical way. I will do my best to, but I am only human, and I was not alive then. I also do not know how to speak Hebrew, Greek, Aramaic, or Egyptian. So, yeah. But I'm trying. A river flowed out of Eden. Okay, going back. The first was called Pison. The name of the second was called Gihon. The third, Hiddekel. And the fourth, Euphrates. I know that one. Also, okay, I am really just debating how I want to do the content of this. I already have thoughts on what I'm reading, and I guess it's just my own little virtual Bible study. If anyone wants to comment what they think of the Bible and what they've gained or what they already know, I am eager to learn more. So I'm just a girl on my journey to get closer to God. But I think it's really beautiful that God created this garden, like a little terrarium, if you will, and it's perfect. Like, everything was thought of. Every need is met. They have food, they have water, they have pretty stuff to look at. Like, it literally says pleasant to the eye. Like, he grew plants that were pleasant to the eye and those that were good for food. So he didn't even just go to, hey, I'm gonna make sure all your needs are taken care of. I want you to have art to look at. Needs and wants. Love that for God, and love that for Adam and Eve. Also, don't know the names of the other rivers, but I do remember learning about the Euphrates River, which is actually still here. So that's cool. God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to care for it and keep it. Okay, so giving them, command. And God commanded the man, saying, of every tree in the garden you may eat freely, except for the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Of this do not eat, for in the day that you eat it, you shall surely die. Then the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make a companion for him. But first God brought every beast of the field and every bird of the air, which he had made out of the earth, to man to see what he would call them. And what man called each creature, this became that creature's name. Man gave names to the cattle, to the birds of the air, and to every beast of the field, but for himself man did not find a companion. So God put man into a deep sleep, and he slept. God took one of his ribs, the rib the Lord made into woman, and he brought her to man, who said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. Her name shall be woman, because she is taken of man. And the man and woman were naked, but they were not ashamed. Alright, so that for the children's Bible is how we end 2nd Genesis. I really think that's beautiful because, Adam was here, he had a mission, he was doing what he had to do. And then a really cool thing that I learned about this as well is that the rib that Eve was made out of was supposedly the one that was closest to his heart, so I thought that was a cool bit of Bible trivia. But I also really love how in this beautiful place that God made, God also didn't forget that we also need companionship. So I thought that's just beautiful. And another thing that I honestly think is really interesting, just going back to it. So there's a part in the very beginning of Second Genesis where it says in the middle of the garden he planted the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Okay, so there's two trees. A lot of the times I see it represented as though they're both the same tree. And I also really want to know too, when you go way further in the Bible, right? You get to, I believe, Revelation, and they mention the tree of life. I think it's mentioned in a couple other places. Could be wrong. But is this the same tree? It's the same tree that's in Revelation in Genesis? Is this my first time figuring that out? Because if so, that's cool. But yeah. Okay. Day 1 complete.